Alors voilà le témoignage de plusieurs personnes sur la fin, enfin sur l'expulsion de certains groupes de juifs du camp de concentration qui servait de top modèle pour la Croix-Rouge, pour enfin tous ceux qui avaient des doutes sur ce qui se passait avec les juifs. Ce camp de concentration était en Tchécoslovaquie, dans une ancienne caserne militaire, au doux nom avec lequel j'ai bien du mal à prononcer, de theresienstadt. Alors voilà, ayez un peu de patience, ça démarre tout de suite, ça vient. Alors n'oubliez pas que ce camp de concentration était du pipeau pour les organismes tels la Croix-Rouge, les ambassadeurs et enfin tout est quanti. Allez, ça roule, un peu de patience, ça vient.
In Theresienstadt. This time it reached us, the transport to the east. We were loaded into these wagons for cattle. And it went for 2 days and 1 night. The second day, it was December. But it was warm inside because we made the heat. We heated it up with our temperature, body temperature. One evening, the train came to a stop. The next day in the evening. And the doors were opened and there was a terrible screaming, out, 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 out. We were shocked, we didn't know what's going on, where we are. We saw only SS with dogs and we saw in the distance in symmetric lights were, but we didn't know where we are, what the lights, the thousands of lights were meaning. We only heard this shouting, out, out, out. And we, yes, just exactly. And schnell, schnell, schnell. Out we came of these wagons. We had to line up. And there were some people with striped uniforms. We didn't know what the stripes are. And I asked one in Czech, where are we? And it was a Polish who understood my Czech, and he told me Auschwitz. But it didn't mean anything to me. What is Auschwitz? I didn't know about Auschwitz anything. We were led into a so-called family camp, Familienlager B2B. Children, men and women together, without any selection beforehand. Men from the Männerlager, they came in and told us that Auschwitz is a Vernichtungslager, where there are burning people. And we didn't believe. In this camp, there was already a transport who left Theresienstadt in September, 3 months before us. They didn't believe too, because we were all together and nobody was taken away and nobody was burned. We didn't believe it.
those Czech Jews from Theresienstadt, from the ghetto near Prague, came into one particular part of the camp, which was called Bauabschnitt 2b, 2b. At that time I was working as a registrar in 2a. The division between 2a and 2b was only one electrical fence, through which nobody could climb, but you could speak through it. In the morning I could sort out the whole situation. There were a number of surprising circumstances. The families, this means men, women and children, were taken together and nobody was gassed. They took with them their luggage into the camp. And they were not shorn, their hair was left. So they were in a different position than anything which I have seen until now. I didn't know what to think about it and nobody knew, but in the main registrar's office, it was known that all those people have got special cards which had a remark on them. SB mit 6-monatiger Quarantäne. SB, we knew what means, Sonderbehandlung, which meant gassing. And quarantine, also we knew what it means. But it didn't make sense to us that somebody should be kept in the camp for 6 months in order to be gassed after 6 months. Therefore, it was left open to interpretation if SB, Sonderbehandlung, always means death in gas chamber, or if perhaps it has got a double meaning. And the 6 months were supposed to elapse on 7th March. In December, and I think it was close to 20th December, another transport from Theresienstadt came, also about 4,000 people strong, which was added to the first transport into the camp B2B. Also, men, women and children were left together, families were not torn apart, old people, young people, everything remained intact, and their hair was left and their personal property was left. They could wear civil clothes, whatever they had. They were given a sort of a different treatment. A school was arranged for the children in a special barrack. The children soon made a theater there. And also it was not really a very comfortable life because they were cramped, and from the first 4,000 people during the first 6 months, the mortality was about 1,000.
Were they obliged to work?
Yes, they had to work, but only inside their camps. They were making a new camp road, and they were ornamenting the barracks. They were induced to write letters. By themselves. To their relatives in the Theresienstadt ghetto, saying that they are all together, etc.
And they had better conditions of food for it?
Definitely better conditions of food, better conditions of treatment. I mean, the conditions were so good that within 6 months, including the old people and children, only 1/4 of them died. I mean, this was a very unusually good condition in Auschwitz. And to the children's theater, the SS used to come there and play with the children. Personal relationship was struck up. And of course, one of my tasks as a registrar was to find out the possibility of people who are resistant, who have got a mind for resistance, and to strike up with them a relationship and contact. and
You were already a member of the resistance movement.
Yes, yes. And that was my job as a registrar, that I had the possibility of moving a bit around under various pretexts to carry papers from my part of the camp into the central registry, and at that occasion to meet other people and give them messages, take messages from them. And one of my tasks then was, because I was closest to this camp, to find out if among the members of this transport are people who are suitable for organizing a resistance nucleus. We soon found several ex-members of the International Brigade in Spain. And so in no time I had a list of about 40 people who had a record from the past of developing some sort of resistance against the Nazis. A special figure emerged among this family camp. A man called Freddy Hirsch. He was a German Jew who emigrated from Germany to Prague. Freddy Hirsch showed a considerable amount of interest for the education of the children who were there. He knew each child by name, and by his upright behavior and obvious human dignity, he became a sort of a spiritual leader of this whole family camp. Now, the March 7th started to near, and this was supposed to give us the signal of what is supposed to happen. But what we did not know for sure.
Im Ende Februar bin ich ausgerückt mit einer Nachtschicht im Krematorium 5.